friends, thanks for joining me. It's Morag here and I have a process video using the fantastic August kits, and the beautiful lemons and strawberries really inspired me to create a summer layout using this month's sketch challenge. In fact, the sketch challenge is for October and it is open to everybody right up until the end of October, when we'll draw one lucky winner to win $25 to spend. So what's not to like about that? So for my layout, I've switched about the sketch a little. I've stuck with the kind of grid effect from the sketch, but I just swapped around the position of the 4-photo cluster. And it kind of gave me an idea to use more photos. So I think it's one of the things I get feedback from people is they always like to scrap more photos on a layout if they can. And for my layout, I am scrapbooking some photos from a recent hen weekend. It wasn't a let's get drunk kind of hen weekend. It was more crafting with my crafty friends and my good friend who's getting married. So it was a really fun weekend for all of us, but definitely not your typical hen weekend, I think. And the main photos here are from when we took some group selfies and also enjoyed some time in the vicinity. So there will be lots of photos to scrap, and I thought this would be ideal as a layout to, include lots of photos on this page. So enough waffle. As I say, I'm going with the same design, but just switching about the photos a little. And I was inspired by the banners that were in one of my small photos there. And I thought it would be really cute to create some banners to go across the top of the page. And this is a great way to use up those little pattern paper strips at the bottom of the paper that normally get thrown away, or indeed just using up some scraps that you have. And the August kits are filled with so many lovely papers. I just wanted to use as many as I could. So I'm just randomly cutting out little banners, as you can see there. And I'll probably go backwards and forwards deciding, which ones I want to use and which order. I do get a little bit haphazard with it, to be fair. I kind of think I had a plan and then I'll just decide to go with whatever was in front of me. So one of the things I thought halfway through this layout was to be able to include more photos. So instead of just sticking down the 4 photos as they are, I'm going to kind of do a lift the flap kind of function so that I can hide photos and journaling underneath. So if you've got a lot of photos to scrap, this would be a fantastic way to include more bits and pieces below. So I'm creating a simple hinge with some pattern paper. Now, I did make a mistake because I didn't think it through properly and I didn't set my hinge right to the top of that paper and instead had left a gap. So when I try and open it, it doesn't want to open. So I try and fix it, first of all by taking the hinge off, but it was stuck down too much. So I'm going to replace that hinge with another one. And as I say, it's just a very simple piece of cardstock which I folded in the middle. And this time I'm going to set it right on the edge of the base. So when it does hinge, it won't interfere with the back at all. Easy rookie mistake, I think. So you just might want to make sure that that is set nice and straight. So a T-square ruler would be helpful. But you'll see later that that hinge is just really simple and is very effective. And then I'm just going to stick the main piece then onto my background. Now, if you needed more photos, you could, or ephemera, instead of sticking that one down onto the background as I'm doing here, you could leave the top open to create a really huge pocket. So that's something I like to do quite often. And just to add a bit more interest, I've curled that bottom left hand corner so that I can have flowers poking out from underneath. And again, it's just something I think is just a really fun detail that's very easy to do. So I'm using some wax thread there to sort of secure my banners to. And rather than pulling it tight, I've doubled it over and I'm going to have it messy going across the page. It is a little bit fiddly, and I've done this several times before, and I just love the interest it creates. Depending on the wax thread that you're using, you'll get some nice curly bits and wavy bits, and then sometimes you have to give it a bit of a helping hand, as I've done here. It wasn't quite as curly as I wanted. So I thought I'd stick a few banners in place to help position it, and then I can decorate the rest in a kind of haphazard way. So I don't know if you've tried this before, but I think a banner border is just so much fun. It just really sings summer to me. And what I'll do, rather than just use banners, I shall incorporate some of the elements from the embellishment kit as well. So I'm just layering them up and choosing the patterns and mixing them about. And rather than just filling too many, which is a possibility, I did want to see that wavy border. So I've left gaps so that that could be seen easily. And then I added in one of the chipboard pieces from the embellishment kit. And I really like how that's turned out. So I'm just sticking down all the flowers, which I've fussy cut from one of the pattern papers in the main kit, along with those leaves. And then I just hand cut some leaves as well from the green cardstock kit. I love the fresh green in this month's kit. It's just all beautiful with all the lemons and it just has a fresh zing about it, doesn't it? I've really thoroughly enjoyed creating with the kit this month, as always. I always feel that, oh, this is my favourite kit, and the next one comes, oh no, this is my favourite kit. I'm just really astounded as to, how much product that we get each month. I'm really enjoying the variety that we're receiving in the kits. So from the chipboard and those acetate hearts, which are to die for. There's just always so much choice. So just to bring in a little bit more interest along the main photo there, I'm just adding a little bit more twine and adding a bow before sticking it down. And I love the chipboard frames because it really kind of draws attention to one of the photos. And I'm just deciding if I can find something to pop on top without going overboard. And just to make things easy, so for my lifter flap affair, I added a little turn at the bottom, which is just some scrap paper which I've folded over. And it kind of just gives an indication that there is something below. And I've used one of the project cards from the Pocket Life kit. But of course I do want to embellish if I can, so I'm just using some of the fabulous, tag die cuts and pieces from the embellishment kit. I make my own tag there. So I do have tag dies, but I just find it so much quicker just to create my own by copying an existing one. Just add a little paper clip for detail. So if you were to do this kind of technique, you might want to put more photos into that flap, or indeed have a lot of journaling underneath. I decided after I'd finished to put some more photos, but rather than just stick all the photos down, I've created a very simple pocket to go underneath. So there you can see the main layout, and then when you lift the flap, you can see I've added a pocket, which was just a piece of paper, cardstock that I've kind of attached to another piece of cardstock, and you can tuck in photos and tags and so on. So that's really easy. So I'm going to leave you with the rest of the close-ups, and I hope you'll enter this month's sketch for October. And all you need to do is upload that to the group, and we'll pick out a winner at the end of October. So thanks so much for joining me. Take care now. Bye.